Yes, we're here. I'm gonna talk about it. I try to run from it, try to hide from it, but we have to talk about it. Your boy Sports King, salute. Number 16, UM versus Virginia ACC matchup. I knew it was gonna be a hostile environment. I knew the Cavaliers were gonna come with a great game plan, and I knew the Canes had their work cut out for them, and ensure they did. So let's go ahead and talk about it. If you haven't already known, yeah, the Canes did lose to Virginia 16-13. Um, as I mentioned, just looking at this game, N'Kosi Perry was a starter. I knew it was going to be very rough for him. His first time starting on the road, going into that type of environment. It was over 42,000 people in attendance. And I knew they were going to go ahead and test the young guy, and he had a rough game. Throwing for two interceptions. He was only 3 out of 6 for 20 yards, and yeah, it was rough. It got to the point where they had to go ahead and put in the senior Malik Rozier in the game, and it was even rough for him as well. He made some key passes, but he threw for about 170 yards. He also threw a interception. Um, you know, I really think UM has to reevaluate their quarterback play. I know usually Coach Rick goes from game to game to see who he feels and who the staff feels will be the best option in this game. But I really felt like the Kosi Perry, it was a good test for him to let him know that this is kind of different when you're on the road. And I knew the momentum was building, especially after them beating FSU, to continue to go ahead and put this young man in the spotlight. But it was definitely a rough night for the Canes. Looking at some of the interceptions that N'Kosi Perry threw, I believe one of them, it looked like it was the receiver's fault. As I was analyzing that play, but still a lot of mistakes. Go ahead and take your hats off to Juan Thornhill from Virginia. He had two interceptions, two key pivotal interceptions. He played. He looked good from the secondary from Virginia as well. With this win, this is Virginia's first win over a ranked opponent since the Cavaliers beat number 21 Louisville back in 2014. And also looking at the end of that game too, a lot of people were really saying, you know what, UM had time to come back. But it wasn't and unfortunately, he's still a young man, so you don't want to beat him up too much, but you want to definitely just coach him accordingly and let him know that don't make the same mistakes, moving forward with Tito Odenbego. I hope I'm saying his name right, but yeah, he had that personal foul, and with that personal foul, pushed the Cavs inside the Miami's 10-yard line, and they allowed Virginia more time to take the time off the clock, and then you had that roughing the kicker from Trajan Bandy, as well. So with those mistakes that happened, it makes you just think and just say, hey man, we cannot make those same mistakes. If Virginia could have just settled for a field goal, giving Miami some time to come back and maybe go down the field and score. But yeah, they just ran the clock off. The fans and attendants, they were hype. That atmosphere was intense. You could just tell. I'm just sitting back looking at the game like, wow, these 42,000 people, they just ready to explode, and indeed they did. So yeah, it's going to be a long flight home. It's going to be a lot of adjustments to be made. And my question is this something that the Canes needed? The Canes, that maybe was the momentum too high that they needed to go ahead and just say, you know what, we need to go ahead and possibly take this loss and go ahead and just going back to the drawing board, because now looking at their record, with the loss in the ACC, it makes things kind of tight now. Being 5-2, 2-1 now in the ACC. But Virginia, I mean, I want to say Virginia, when the Canes go to Charlottesville, is always this kind of outcome. I mean, I believe the last 5 times they lost in this fashion. So it just shows you, man, when the difference between a home game and an away game, man. Just that environment is very hostile. I heard Coach Rick after the game just really talking about why he put Malik Rozier in. He really felt like they needed that veteran leadership, and adjustments will be made. And I know they asked questions as far as what's going to happen moving forward with the quarterback play. He said they're going to still go with who they feel as though is best between N'Kosi Perry and, of course, Malik Rozier. So it looked like that's still going to be a lot of quarterback play and who they feel as though is going to be best fit. But that's another question I pose. Should they continue to go week by week, or should they just make an informed decision and just say, hey, this is going to be our guy, or do you just play it by ear? Do you just play it by ear based off what the team that they play from a defensive scheme? Do you just play it by, hey, I feel like this guy will be the best option? Because with that quarterback play and switching, I really felt like when they put in Rozier, he had to get off some of that rust, if that makes sense, from him. So he made some bad decisions. So that's one thing that can happen when you switch in quarterbacks a lot too. And plus you switch them in an away game with in that type of atmosphere too as well. So just some things to really think about going back to the drawing board. But you must take your hats off to Virginia. Great game plan from start to finish. And we're going to definitely see what happens moving forward. But the Canes, you know what? Do not hold your head down. Yeah, it's a loss. Move forward. Get on that plane, long flight home, talk about it, but just move forward. Once you guys get off that plane, I think the conversation should just be ceased. Let's just move forward. Let's keep that team camaraderie. Let's go ahead and continue to build, and let's just go ahead and continue to get prepared. But great win for the Cavalier fans out there. But we're going to continue to go ahead and talk about it. So make sure you like, subscribe, share this page. Let me know your thoughts on this matchup. What adjustments do you guys like to see? Should we go ahead and make an informed decision as far as the quarterback play? It's a lot to talk about. So go ahead, like, subscribe, and leave comments so we can have a great dialogue. Until then, salute.